Hey guys, welcome to Cohesive Friendship Unit
What's up?
and Jake.
Hey guys.
Guys, Blizzcon came and went. There were some protests, like we predicted. There were some people stealing the mic during the Q&A session, like we predicted. Nothing too memeable, unfortunately, but we got Diablo 4 and Overwatch 2, and we're here to talk about Overwatch 2. I mean, we're going to talk a little bit about the new features in Overwatch 2, and we can maybe talk briefly about what we think about it, but we're more interested on talking about the sequelization of an esport, and is this the way to do it? Because I would say this is a newer approach, and I really want to dive into that. But before we do dive into that, we are doing a giveaway. 1,500 subs, Steam copy of Crash Bandicoot Trilogy. All you gotta do is be subscribed. So if you love us, sub us. And if you like the video, throw us a like. Let us know down below what you think of Overwatch 2. And with that, let's get started. So I'm going to put a graph up on the screen so you guys can kind of see what we're working with. That shows the difference between Overwatch and Overwatch 2. And I'm just going to run through everything, and then I'm going to kind of open it up. So with what is coming to both Overwatch and Overwatch 2, so both games are getting a new game mode, competitive game mode, 4 new maps, new heroes, 2 plus new heroes, updated engine and look, and that's coming to all both Overwatch and Overwatch 2. What's only coming to Overwatch 2 is the new story mode, which is you can play in co-op, new hero missions which you can play in co-op, and a PvE mode. So offline non-competitive modes. So right off the bat, like what do we think about Overwatch 2? They're gonna be selling this as a new game. You know, this is Overwatch 2, not Overwatch 2. What do we think about that? Also, all of your skins and stuff are gonna carry over, and then we'll talk about if it's the right way to do it. This kind of a sequel.
It's not.
Smells like
It's
DLC.
not really a sequel. Yeah, it's barely
DLC.
DLC. It's a story pack, like,
Yeah,
and a
it's a
graphical
story
update.
pack.
It both is and isn't a sequel. So here, like, okay, yeah, fuck it. Let's just get into it. Let's just do it, right? They could have said Overwatch 2 is all of these new things and Overwatch 1 gets nothing and everyone has to move on. But they didn't do that. And that's how sequels of old would have done things. Like Smash Bros. They do a new Smash Bros. They don't bring all the old shit from into the old Smash Bros. You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm talking about just, competitive games. So, why did they... See, I think it's interesting that they are giving Overwatch 1 players the opportunity to basically stay on their old game.
I think they're just trying to figure out how much money they could milk from competitive players.
But as a competitive player, why would you buy Overwatch 2? Just to check out the new co-op stuff? Story stuff?
I don't know. I mean, the only people that would buy Overwatch 2 are the people that didn't buy Overwatch 1. I mean, I don't know. It's
But buy
like,
Overwatch
if you
1.
own Overwatch 1, do you have to re-download to get Overwatch 2, or is it just an upgrade, as in a DLC that you install? Like, I don't know. This brings back all the complaints I have about Destiny releasing $60 expansion packs, and I think the price point is crazy, but the fact that they go even further and call it a second game just seems way over the line.
And
Yeah,
I agree.
all right, I'll let you guys go.
it's not worth $60. Like, it's not. I'm sorry. Like, if you want to break it down, it's $15 for every single one of those features. So think about that before you buy. It's a cash grab. You know, they see that they can make money off of this as a quarter. I mean, it's an esport. It's hugely popular, but like they're not really making. You get to a plateau. You know, you get the amount of people that are really interested in buying the game have pretty much already bought it, and they need to keep making money. So you come out with a second version, which is a minimum effort, and it's a cash grab. It's loot boxes all over again.
I see what you just said, Brian. So I see this as a good thing for existing players in that you don't really have to upgrade unless you really, really want this new story stuff. I see it as like what you were alluding to a little bit, Brian. I see this as a PR move, especially in the wake, and I'm sure this was planned ahead of time, but it is convenient, like in the wake of all the pressure Blizzard's been getting, that they essentially were able to pull a game out of their ass by saying, like, okay, we had all this stuff that's kind of already in development. Like, it already works with Overwatch 1. Like, we have the new updated engine, we have the new heroes, we have the new maps. Let's just make a new game. Let's just make Overwatch 2, and that way, on paper, it looks like, oh, we made a new game. And that's a good, you know what I'm saying?
But
like, I see it as a PR thing.
It stinks. Like, if you're paying $60 if you're paying $60 to buy this, you're probably like full into this franchise,
Exactly.
and that's fine. But like, from someone that's not, it's like, really?
I think people who buy Overwatch 2 are getting burned. I think.
Oh yeah, because you get all the meaningful stuff in like Overwatch 1.
Well, yeah, which you could probably get for like
you already get it.
$10 somewhere. Like.
And original Overwatch was $40, I think. 30.
It launched at 40 and then went up to 60.
Okay. Yeah, but now that you're mentioning the PR stunt, I guess I could kind of see that. It's like you said, the only people that are really going to buy Overwatch 2 are the people that are interested in co-op PvE stuff. So maybe you try and pull in people that were not playing Overwatch already by releasing quote-unquote Overwatch 2 with this PvE aspect, but I don't know, charging $60 and then calling it a second game when you could, like, if you take, for example, the Zombies standalone game from Call of Duty, that would make more sense if you sold like an almost standalone DLC kind of thing that did Overwatch, PvP, PvE.
So the only other, like, and again, this is also kind of dying. The only other logical way I could see this working is if it was like a launch title for the next gen, which would make it like a year away, which is, I guess, fine, but that would make sense because maybe you could play it at like, it would just look better. On a console, on a PC, I don't really see an argument for this. But again, now that basically PS5 and Xbox Scarlet have almost all but guaranteed that they will be both backwards compatible, it just seems kind of like a moot point. Like, you could just keep playing Overwatch. But then I do want to talk, like, I'm gonna take Smash Brothers again. Maybe we'll try it on one more franchise just to put this scenario in those franchises' shoes. If the next Smash Bros was Smash Ultimate 2 or Smash Mega Ultimate or whatever on the Switch 2, and it was literally just Smash Ultimate, like all the characters, like new characters coming to the new game, you could also get on the Switch version. Same with new maps. Same with the updated engine and mechanics and stuff. The only difference was single player content. I would be pretty happy as a Smash Ultimate player, and I would be fine as a Smash Super Ultimate player because I guess it's on the new console. I don't know.
No, I would be ticked if that was the new game for the new console, because then, like, if you didn't have a Switch, like, I don't know, you'd be stuck with like essentially a last gen game with like no real new content that they're just repackaging and selling as a new game. I think if you have the first game, this is a huge win. It just doesn't justify calling itself a new title. I think the advantage for a game like Smash is that it follows console generation, so there isn't really any possibility of doing what Overwatch is doing, because there's a new software format for the new console. It's not backwards compatible. I don't know. I agree with everything that Jake and Brian have already said. It just doesn't justify calling itself a game. I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, that's what I have fault with, is that they're calling it Overwatch 2, But
It's just Overwatch. It's an
but-
expansion pass.
Oh, beyond that, I think it's interesting that like if you look at the breadth of competitive games out there, Smash and fighting games they constantly release new games and expect absolutely everyone to jump to the new game. Call of Duty does the exact same thing. Whereas games like League of Legends and Dota never release new games. They just release new characters, and you never have to buy a new game, you just buy more characters. So I don't know where Overwatch really falls in between those two, because it's definitely not a fighting game, but it's definitely not like a MOBA game. So maybe this is a better way. I mean, I'm not opposed to releasing DLC that's exclusively PvE. I think that's great because it gets people that are not competitive shooters playing this game. But like I said, calling it Overwatch 2 is where I have the problem.
I think the difference goes back to platform, Jake. Like you said, Dota and what was the other League? Those are both like very PC oriented games. Is that fair to say?
Yeah,
They are, yeah.
exclusively
And I think
almost.
that's pretty much the reason why those haven't been iterative. Is like once you have a title on PC, it's hard to, if you're not gonna really make a new game, if you're just adding content, right, in the form of characters or maps, it's hard to justify a new standalone title for something that's competitive like that. Whereas something that's console based like Smash or like COD, it's a lot easier to say like, that was last season's news, here's your new disc.
See, I think
No.
it's... Sorry, go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, I was like, it's just a difference in mentality, I think, because with the PC stuff, it's very easy to just like you push an update and the game is, whatever you were fixing. If you're adding a character, if you're fixing bugs or whatever, it's fixed, it's done, and it's a I don't want to say living, but it's a constantly evolving thing. With the console stuff in the past, it was more like PC stuff was in the past, where the game 2 was sort of an incremental development of the first game, and that was all right because that was the only way you could get it. But now where consoles are kind of blurring into, because everything's online nowadays and everybody's just pushing updates over the internet. You buy a game in the store, you install it, and then you have to install updates to play it. So like it seems like you're really behind the times if you're pushing out a quote unquote second game in this manner, because it's something that everybody knows that you could have just done with an update.
But I think
And especially Overwatch has been out for a long time too. It's not like this is it's a relatively new game. It's been out for a really long time, so they've been pushing updates and doing the incremental improvement thing, and that makes it that much more annoying.
But I think people are maybe a little more used to that like release cycle on console, just because back in the day there literally wasn't the possibility of doing any sort of.
Well, and if you're talking about physical media, in a lot of cases, there's not. You can't, like, you have to have the disc or you have to have the card or whatever. But we're kind of moving away from that.
Right.
So I see the lack of a sequelization for some of these games like League and Dota to be entirely based on it being like a legitimate sport, like an esport. And like Overwatch is that. Like the Overwatch League, love it or hate it, is weirdly huge. It is very big and very popular. And I think a big part of the reason why like League and Dota don't get a sequel is because people have literally invested thousands of hours. There are careers and casters, and changing things is just like making a new game and calling it League of Legends 2 is just quite literally impossible. It would be like if Basketball 2 came out in the real world and all
they
these-
made StarCraft
I'd watch
too.
it.
Even just implying.
I
that
mean,
there's
yeah,
a
we would all
second
watch
one.
it, but like it would be like if basketball, like the NBA was like, "Yo, we done with basketball. We all about basketball 2 now," and like LeBron's fucked. It's like
They did make StarCraft too, though, Chris.
they did, But and again,
so it can't happen.
I'm not saying it can't happen. And this is kind of going back to what Jake was getting at, where he had a problem with it being called Overwatch 2. I think, and again, there's no official release date, but they said it's a ways off. I think this should have just been called Overwatch PS4 Xbox Scarlet Edition. Like they should have just or Overwatch Remastered or Overwatch Definitive or whatever the fuck.
Gold Edition.
Yeah, just whatever makes you happy. Because I agree, this is mostly for the console crowd. I don't think PC players are going to care much about this personally. And
I think
Sorry,
I'm sorry, keep going.
No, you're good. That's it.
I think the other caveat that kind of separates Overwatch from League and Dota, though, and puts it maybe more in the Smash COD category where sequelization makes more sense, is that Overwatch, in addition to being a pretty big esport, is like also a more broadly successful pop culture phenomenon that like I see people all the time, kids, grown-ups, I mean like all ranges of age, boys, girls, like they have fucking Overwatch hats, they have backpacks, they have all different Overwatch swag that like it's permeated beyond just like hardcore, esports fans, right? And I think, again, that's a crowd that's maybe more receptive to purchasing a sequel and just another way of, like, going back to the trough for Blizzard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have liked to see them maybe release, not expansions, but similar to how, like, Fortnite runs events. Like, something that you could pay,
Seasons.
like a season. Like, you pay $5, you get this new latest story mode, and you play through a story that's maybe 5 to 10 hours. At the end, you unlock a bunch of skins and whatever good cosmetic things you want, and like that's how you continue to do this. I think that's a more fair way of releasing these.
Yeah, and going back to StarCraft, that game was like old to the point where it was starting to not run on modern hardware before the remaster, and I think at that point the player base was also dying to an extent. Like there was still competitive StarCraft when StarCraft 2 came out, but it was much smaller. Like a sequel is good for like a shot in the arm, like, and I don't think Overwatch needed this shot in the arm. This really to me does feel more like Blizzard fixing Blizzard problems more than Blizzard fixing Overwatch problems. But I think we all agree that this maybe is, I don't know. I think we're all hung up on the 2, right? We're hung up on the 2?
Yeah.
Brian, you hung up on the 2?
I'm hung up on the whole thing, to be honest. But yeah.
Jeremy, you hung up on the 2?
Yeah.
I hate the 2.
All right, we're all hung up on the 2. I think if this was Overwatch Definitive, would we have cared? Would we have given a shit? But then nobody would have given a shit, right?
And then we wouldn't
What
have
if it was Overwatch 1.0?
Ooh.
Fucking
Like the
It was
Xbox
Overwatch
One
10,
and the third
right?
fucking Xbox.
Overwatch
No.
360.
Well, do we have anything else to say about this idea, right? I think we...
It's a stupid fucking idea. Like that's what I have to say about it.
End of
All right.
video thoughts.
End of video thoughts. I think that was a good clause to wrap things up with, Brian. But what should our viewers?
Well,
I was gonna
if
say
you
wrap
think
up.
this is a stupid fucking idea, hammer your thoughts on that on down in the word box there, or if you think it's a good idea, you can try to defend yourself. And like Chris said at the beginning of the video, if you subscribe to this channel, we're going to be giving away some Steam codes. So go ahead and click that subscribe button. If you watch this far, you probably liked it, and we do have a shit ton more content like this on our channel. And smoke them if you got them, guys. That's all for me tonight, Chris.
All right, thank you, Brian. Catch you guys next time.